guys, today we are going to be talking about the Beautylish gift card event, which just started. I am going to be giving you my recommendations. So what I've done in the past for like the Sephora VIB sale is that I've gone by brand. I feel like that's how I sometimes think about products, as I think about them by brand. And because Beautylish carries so many brands that I love, I thought that that would be the most organized way of going through this. And when I've done that for the Sephora VIB sale, you guys really enjoyed it. So we're going to be doing that today for the Beautylish gift card event. The event basically is for every $100 you spend, you'll get a $20 gift card for Beautylish. And it's one of the most anticipated, beauty sales that we have every single year. So about a month ago, Beautylish reached out to me and they basically said, if there are any things that you want to try out from our store for a video, if you plan on doing a video, they were very open about it because this is not a sponsored video in any way, but they basically wanted to help me out if I was going to be making a recommendations video. And I said, definitely. Thank you so much for letting me know that it's coming up. So not only will I be listing everything that I'm talking about today, but I will asterisk off anything that Beautylish sent me, just in case I forget to mention it. I don't want to seem duplicitous in any way. It's just sometimes once I get going, I get going. So anyway, check down below in the description box for any information on the things I'm talking about and an asterisk for the things that Beautylish sent to me. And a big thank you to Beautylish for helping me out and sending me some things to try out and possibly recommend for you guys in this video. So let's go ahead and jump in. I'm going to start with brushes, and I'm going to start with Sonia G because Sonia G has my heart. I absolutely love her brushes. I absolutely love her as well, but I love her brushes, and I feel like now she's gotten to the point, even though she's a fairly new brush brand, she's gotten to the point where there are a lot of brushes in her collection, and I thought it'd be nice to kind of recommend the ones that really stood out to me. So that's going to be sort of the theme for this entire video. This is going to be long, but I really just want to try and highlight some of my favorites. Even though I love so many more things on this site, there's no way that I can talk about everything. So I'm just going to be highlighting the ones that really stand out to me. I also want to mention that I'm on the Beautylish site right now when I'm filming, which is the day before the actual event starts. And I'm just checking to make sure that things are in stock. Now, by the time my video goes up, I have no idea, but I'm going to try and only talk about things that are in stock. If they're not in stock and I just feel like I have to talk about them, I will let you know that they're not in stock at the moment. But anyway, let's go ahead and talk about Sonia G. So the first brush that I have to talk about, because this brush is magical. It's also a brush that I just really have not been able to find a dupe for in any way. Nothing even really kind of comes close. So this is the Sonia G Face One brush. This is the one that I love to use as a buffing brush for finishing powder. And nothing makes powder or my skin look the way this brush does. It just burnishes the powder in. It just kind of polishes it up. And if you're using a finishing powder that maybe has like a little bit of micro glitter to it, or it has like a little bit of a sheen to it, this really makes the best of it. It really kind of makes it this soft glow. It really ends up just giving your face this halo. And it's this brush, because I've tried different powders before, different finishing powders, and some, some look lovely on the skin, like they look fine, but there's something about this brush that just finishes it off and makes the powder look its absolute best. There's no other brush out there, in my book, in my very humble opinion, that does the job that the Sonia G Face One brush does for finishing powders. Also, if you use like powder foundations, this is beautiful as well. I use this with the Sisley Blur Expert Powder, because if you want anything to kind of be worked into the skin, this is the one. This is the brush for you. I don't really use powder foundations, but when I use this with the Sisley Blur Expert Powder, it melts it into the skin. It applies it so evenly. And, again, it does that kind of polishing motion. So you get just this like beautiful finish to the powder. And then whatever you put on top of it, it just makes it so much easier, because you just have this very kind of like smooth layer of makeup, as opposed to anything that's too powdery, possibly patchy, anything like that. This just really buffs powder into the skin. I love it, and it's the first brush I'm mentioning. So this is probably one of the most special Sonia G brushes, I think. The second brush I want to mention from Sonia G is the Sculpt One brush. This is her big, gigantic fan brush, and this brush for me is what kind of just completely altered my opinion on fan brushes in general. I never really liked them. I never really got them. And it's because basically this fan brush and most of her fan brushes are thicker than most other fan brushes that I've come across. And so you don't get a really stark like line application, or it's not too light and feathery. It's just a great buffing brush. Like you can actually buff product in even though it has a fan shape. So the Sculpt One brush, I love it. I absolutely cannot live without this brush either. The next brush I have to mention is her brand new Designer Pro brush. This one, it's so multi-purpose. You can use it for highlight, for setting powder underneath your eyes, for blush, obviously, and you want to apply bronzer contour just, a little bit under your cheekbones. This is perfect. It's also perfect, I find, for just like spot setting concealer. So if you've put concealer like around your nose, maybe a little bit on your chin, this is great for that because it's oval shaped. So you have like a nice flat surface area here for like under the eyes, but then you have fairly like a slim brush here that you can really kind of get into crevices here, like underneath the lip or whatever. It's a very, very fantastic multitasking brush, and I've been enjoying it ever since I got it. It's lovely. And of course, because of the Sonia G workmanship, it's just a pleasure to work with. There's been no shedding with this brush. The handle is just, it's easy to hold. It's absolutely gorgeous to look at. So the Designer Pro brush, loving this as well. And then before this turns into a Sonia G video, I'm just going to mention two eye brushes. The Worker 2 brush, I love. This is basically the same exact shape as her Worker 1 brush, but it has undyed goat hair. And so you can use this not only with powders, but also with cream shadows. So I find this one just a little bit more versatile. And then finally for Sonia G, the Blender Pro. This is a magnificent blender brush. I think I kind of talked about this a lot when this happened last year, but Tom Ford changed over to synthetic hairs. They used to use natural hairs and they moved over to synthetic hairs. And the number 13 brush from Tom Ford is amazing. But because they moved over to synthetic, and I tried the synthetic hair one, just not the same, I have been searching high and low for a blender brush that is this shape. And can I tell you, it's very difficult to find because it's very, very rounded at the top. And most blender brushes, of course, I don't have one right here, but most blender brushes, they come to kind of like a point at the top, which I would imagine is great for some people, but it just doesn't work for me. And this Blender Pro is fairly rounded at the top. And I was like, Sonia G, I could kiss you on the lips. Like, I love this brush so much. So that is the Blender Pro, and this is with dyed goat hair. And so it picks up product beautifully. It blends out product beautifully. Like, it looks instantly airbrushed on your lids. So that is the Sonia G Blender Pro brush. Next, let's talk about Chikuhodo. Chikuhodo is another Japanese makeup brush line, and they're all handmade in Japan, in Kumano. These brushes are just so, so beautiful. And again, this is going to be just as difficult as the Sonia G brushes to kind of narrow down which ones I really want to talk about. So of course the first brush I want to talk about is out of stock. I'm so sorry, but I'm hoping it comes back into stock quickly. This is the Chikuhodo Z1 brush. It is their powder brush. It is made of squirrel hair. And so squirrel hairs are a little bit more delicate than goat. And so they're a little bit softer as well. They just feel so, so minky and smooth. And so this is great for like all over powder application. It is like the perfect kind of shape. It's not too big. It's not too small, I think, for powder. And it's great for loose powder. So I like to just kind of pat the powder in, and then what I'll do is just kind of sweep any excess powder away. And it just does such a fabulous job. It really just applies powder so evenly. It's so soft to your skin. So if you do have very sensitive, like tactilely sensitive skin, then you'll love this because it's just so soft. But let me move on since that is out of stock. All right, the next brush I want to mention is the Chikuhodo GSN 4 brush. And I love this brush so much, I have two. But this is the brush that they call a highlight brush. And I think it's kind of big for highlight, but you can definitely use it for highlight. I definitely have used it for highlight, but I just think it's a great all-around cheek brush. So I've used this for blush, I've used this for bronzer, I've used this for powder, if it's just been sitting on the table and I need something. So this is just a wonderful, wonderful all-around multi-purpose brush. And this brush has a blend of squirrel and goat hair. So that is the GSN 4. And then I have two eye brushes to recommend. I have the Z5 and the GSN 9. So the Z5 is made out of squirrel hair, and this is like, well, let me hold it up next to the GSN 9. So it's kind of like an oversized flat shader brush. And I love this because if you just want to put down a layer of like just one shadow all over your lid, which is usually my first step when I do eyeshadow, this is great. It just does very, very quick work of it because of the larger size. And because of the squirrel hair, it just lays down color so evenly and so smoothly. So I've been loving this Z5. And then the GSN 9 is a little bit smaller. It's also squirrel hair, and it's another flat shader. And I love this. It took me a while to purchase this brush. I heard Tara Babies talk about this brush first. She always, whenever she did a tutorial, she always whipped out this brush. And finally I was like, fine, I'm gonna get it. It really has come in handy like quite a bit. Obviously it's a flat shader, so it's great to just lay down color. And because it's small, you can lay down color in a very kind of like targeted area, which is really, really nice. And because it's pretty flat, you can also kind of like blend into your eyeliner a bit, which is what I like to do with eyeshadows sometimes. It's more versatile than I thought it would be. So I really enjoy this GSN 9 brush, and because of the squirrel hair, it's so soft, but this is packed so tightly that you do definitely have control. Like it's not just too flimsy or too soft. It's just soft to the touch, but you have a lot of control. So that's the GSN 9. I could go on and on with Chikuhodo, but we're gonna move on. And now let's talk about Koyudo. Koyudo is a brush company, same as Chikuhodo. It is a Japanese hand maker of brushes based in Kumano. And I just never got around to trying any of their brushes. So I mentioned to Beautylish that I would love to try their brushes, and they did send over a few to me. So let me mention the ones that I like and would recommend to you. The first one is this cute little brush. I just loved it. And when I opened up the box and took a look at this brush, I was like, gosh, this is so dense. This has got to be a foundation brush. And it is. It is their Fupa, F-U-P-A, 02 liquid foundation brush. And this is basically undyed goat hair. And one brush that I could probably mention with the Sonia G brushes, because this is definitely my favorite foundation brush. So let me just mention it now. But the Sonia G Base 1 brush, I love this brush. It's a duo fiber brush. It has like longer bristles here. It has more dense bristles, just a little bit shorter. It's not too exaggerated, like the difference in hair lengths. And it just blends liquid foundation in so, so beautifully, or cream foundation. It just blends it in so seamlessly. I love it. So that's the Sonia G Base 1 brush. But anyway, back to the Koyudo Fupa 02 brush. I really like this brush. It is very, very soft, and it is very, very dense. And I'm not generally a fan of short handle brushes. I usually like a proper handle for my brushes, but when it comes to foundation, this actually is really, really handy because you generally want a lot of control, and it's not about a light application per se, like with eyeshadows or whatever. You're not just kind of like swirling the foundation on. You're really kind of like blending it in. So I actually really like this handle length. And this is just a really lovely, dense, soft brush. I love the shape of it, that it's not round, that it's not like a flat top per se. It's pinched, it's oval basically, it's very, very thick, it's slightly domed. It's just a wonderful, wonderful shape. I've been having a lot of fun using this past week. And when I am feeling lazy, which is most days, whenever I put concealer on, if I want to go ahead and use a brush, I usually have to take out another brush. I can't use this one for concealer. It's a little bit too, like these bristles are a little bit too prickly. Also the shape isn't quite right. So I don't like using this for concealer, but this, I mean, it's gigantic, but if you just want to kind of like blend it in quickly, this has been great. So I've been loving this Fupa 02 brush, I think is what it's called. Yeah, Fu-PA 02 liquid foundation brush from Koyudo. And then I've also been trying out this powder brush from Koyudo. It is their BP 006 powder brush, and it has, for me, extremely long brush hairs. I generally like powder brushes that are a little bit shorter, a little bit more domed. So this to me, when I look at it, is like you just want to sweep with it. And this has been fantastic for those powders that I want to make sure I am not putting too much on, or those powders that I feel like always look a little bit too thick on my skin. So I've been loving this with the By Terry Hyaluronic Powder, which we'll talk about in a bit when we get to By Terry, because it really makes very, very quick work of sweeping away any excess powder that you have. I also love using this with the La Prairie powder, because that powder, if you use a little bit too much, it almost looks like a powder foundation. Like it has like a thickness to it. And when I use this brush and I make sure I kind of brush away any of the excess, it's awesome. So, you know, I'll just dot some of that powder on and then I'll just sweeping away any of the excess. So I've been loving this brush. And then finally, I've been playing around with this Koyudo heart-shaped brush. And it really is, for me, it's really kind of gimmicky because of these two rounds. Like it really kind of hugs your cheeks. But then like, I'm not really applying that much to the actual like cheekbone, which is where I like to apply product. So then I'll kind of like turn it on its side and use it that way. Anyway, this is definitely not my favorite blush brush in the entire world, but I think this is so cute. And this is, I just think, the perfect gift for a brush lover. So this is a Koyudo Heart Powder Brush, and this pink color, it's really cute, and it's not functional at all. It works fine. It's just not the brush I've been reaching for, but it is adorable. All right, let's go ahead and move on from brushes. Let's talk about Oribe. Whenever this gift card event comes around, I stock up on things like shampoo, conditioner, like things that I know I'm gonna go through. And I've been using the shampoo and conditioner for Magnificent Volume for over a year now. When I moved here to Vegas, I kind of developed like a hair issue. My hair was just flat, lifeless. There was like nothing going on. And I had always used shampoos and conditioners that were more moisturizing, because in New York, where I moved from, my hair was always like very frizzy. And so I would use these like very kind of like smoothing kind of products. And it worked for out there, it worked for that weather, it worked for that climate, and it worked for that water. For this climate and this water, it did not work. So I went through like quite the hair ordeal when I moved here. And when I started using the Magnificent Volume, like I mentioned, the shampoo and the conditioner, my hair just kind of came to life. It just gave my hair like the body that it needed. And in the past, whenever I've really fallen in love with a shampoo, conditioner, after a while, you guys know, like after a month or two, you got to switch it up. You got to change it up. I have never, ever had to do that with this team. I have been using this straight, at least a year and a half at this point. Yeah, a year and a half. I'll talk about another hair care product from Sisley. You guys probably know what I'm going to be talking about. I'll be talking about that when I talk about Sisley, that I think has also helped in this whole thing. But this is the shampoo and conditioner that I use, love, and like just completely dedicated to. So I wanted to mention that, and I am excited to stock up on some of that myself. I also wanted to mention the Baume d'Or. This is their heat styling shield. So after I wash my hair, I towel dry it. I'll pump 2 pumps into my hand, and then I'll just put this all over before I blow dry my hair. And if you guys have been with me for any amount of time, you guys know that I wash my hair every day. So it's important for me to make sure that it is shielded properly. And I think my hair looks, you know, pretty good. I don't do that much for my hair. I don't mask or do anything like that. So I think my hair looks pretty decent for someone who just basically washes it and then blows it dry. So I've been using this for as long as I've been using the shampoo and conditioner, and I love it. It just somehow not only protects my hair, but it just makes it shinier too. And what I wanted to show you, because I didn't even notice this until like months into using it, because I would just pump it out and, you know, like spread it around in my hair. But it has, oh, I don't know if you'll see, but it has the most subtle like golden sheen to it. And I'm like, yes, that's what makes my hair look so like healthy and shiny. And you know, I'm saying all these things and you're probably like, your hair looks dead. But trust me, it would look worse than this if I did not use this heat styling shield. So this I love also. The other thing I wanted to mention is this Rock Hard gel. And whenever you see me with my hair tied back or up in a bun, basically out of my face, I have this in my hair, and it is a godsend for my hair that is so stubborn. It just grows in all these different directions. There's absolutely no helping it. And I started looking for something that would just hold my hair. I started seeing pictures of people using this, like they were styling it into mohawks or whatever. And I was like, that's the level of hold that I need. So I got this and I thought, oh, I have this gigantic tube. I'm never going to go through it. well, guess what? I need to get another bottle. But like I said, I use this every time I want to kind of basically like slick back my hair. And what's awesome is it comes out almost like Elmer's glue. It has like this white appearance to it. And my issue with gels in general is that it flakes, or it looks, you can kind of see it in the hair. This dries completely clear, and then I wash my hair every day, but I do it in the morning. So if I gel my hair back, I will go to sleep with it, like with all that gel in my hair. I know it's disgusting, but once you like kind of uncrunch your hair, there's still no flaking. It's amazing. There's no flaking. There's no weird color. There's no like residue in your hair. Love, love, love this rock hard gel. This is amazing. And if you have really stubborn eyebrows, you can use this in your eyebrows for sure. You can definitely use this as like a brow gel in your brows. So keep that in mind if you've been looking for something, but I love this stuff. And then last but not least, I just wanted to mention the Polishing Body Scrub from Oribe. This is part of his Côte d'Azur line, which is, I believe, his fragrance and like what everything in his line basically like smells like. And it comes in this big tub, and I've gone through probably 2 of these already. I like a lot of different body scrubs. I'm not terribly picky about body scrubs. They just have to be effective. I don't like body scrubs that are too soft or don't have enough scrubbies. I also don't like body scrubs that are too rough because I feel like I'm just tearing up my skin. This body scrub is right in the middle. It has a wonderful texture. It's a little bit more creamy. You know, like if you use a salt scrub, it really just feels like salt sitting in oil. There's more to this. This one feels a little bit creamier, but there's like more substance to the actual like base of this. And then the scrubbies in here are like right down the middle. There's like definitely enough where it's effective, but there's not too much where I feel like I'm just, you know, taking sandpaper to my skin. And then this scrub beats them all because of this fragrance. I love this Côte d'Azur fragrance, and I've never been to the Mediterranean, but it's what I imagine the Mediterranean to smell like. Okay, next I want to quickly talk about Jo Malone. Jo Malone has come out with a new scent called Poppy and Barley. And I tried this on in store. Usually, you know, I'm not that into perfumes. I like them. I wear them. I think they're lovely, but it's like not my thing. And usually when I find a perfume that I like, I just stick with it. I just wear it every day. I don't think about it or whatever. But when I smelled this and I put it on my skin, I just was like, oh, you know, smells nice, sprayed it on my skin. And then I just walked around for the rest of the day. And by the end of the day, it was still on my skin. But I just liked it more and more, and it didn't like change. It didn't really like alter on my skin. And now I've been wearing it kind of nonstop. So again, this is the Jo Malone Poppy and Barley. Let me just read you what it says on the site. Top note, blackcurrant. I do like a fruity fragrance. Heart note, poppy. It's a colorful floral note, fresh and crisp. And then the base note is barley, which has a woody note, and it's musky. Oh yeah, so it really does have a little bit of everything. So it's really just very, very lovely. This is a really, because it's kind of like cleaner and brighter. I don't know, I just feel like it's very appropriate like going into winter, going into those like cooler months where the sky is like a little bit whiter and grayer. It kind of, I don't know, it just kind of conjures up that imagery for me. But if you like light, bright kind of fragrances, you may like this. So that's the new Poppy and Barley from Jo Malone. And then the other thing I just wanted to mention, and I think I mentioned this, I did like a candle video. It feels like a million years ago, but probably a couple months ago. And I talked about some candles that I liked for like the cooler season, and one of them was the Jo Malone English Pear and Freesia. I love that scent. For me, it's just very, very holiday. Like, I'm not the biggest fan of like candles that smell like food, so I don't really like to burn like pumpkin spice or cinnamon or apple pie kind of like fragrances. So if you're like me, this English Pear and Freesia I think is very, very holiday without having any of those aspects to it, without having any kind of like cinnamon food aspect to it. There's kind of like a warm sweetness to it as well, but just without those aspects. So the English Pear and Freesia candle is definitely going to go into my cart for this event. All right, I feel like I've been talking for hours and we haven't even gotten to like skincare and makeup yet. Okay, let me speed this up. Let's talk about Sisley. Like Sonia G, I could make an entire video on Sisley, but I'm just, like I said, I'm going to narrow it down. The Velvet Sleeping Mask. This has been amazing. And this probably is one product I have gotten the most DMs, either on Instagram or over YouTube or comments, where people have gone out and purchased this on my recommendation. and they've been like, thank you so much. This is exactly what my skin needed. It's wonderful. It can be a very nourishing moisturizer if you want to use it. You can use it as a mask, an overnight mask. You can use it as like a quick mask if you just want to put like a nice layer on, leave it on for like 15-20 minutes and then wipe it off. It does wonders. It just like instantly plumps up your skin and makes you look well rested. There's no other way to put it. It's just wonderful, and I'm definitely running low. So I'm definitely gonna have to be getting one myself. It smells great. It's made with saffron flowers. So it just has this really light, fresh floral fragrance, but really not synthetic at all. It's very, very organic smelling. Oh, it's wonderful. So this is gonna be going into my Beautylish cart too. And then I mentioned this when I was talking about my shampoo and conditioner, but the Sisley Revitalizing Fortifying Serum for the Scalp. This, I think this is the fourth bottle that I'm on, third or fourth bottle that I'm on. I have like one or two backups. I'm not sure if this is one of my backups that I'm thinking of, but I have one or two backups of this. I just love it. You use 9 drops on your scalp, 3 down the middle, 3 down each side. When you first start using this, you use it like every other day, and then you just taper off, and then you use it like 2 or 3 times a week. I use it kind of like every other day. I just love the feeling of it. It's cooling on the scalp, and then what you do is you just kind of massage it in, and I use it when my hair is damp, but you can use it when your hair is dry. And I want to say after a couple months, I started to see a lot of like new growth in my hair, and my hair started to feel like it had a lot more body. And that was definitely one of my concerns, because I wasn't sure, like my hair, like I mentioned, was starting to look really flat. And I thought, is it the texture of my hair, or am I losing hair? And I'm definitely at the age where I am definitely losing, I think, more hair than I'm actually growing. And so I was getting a little bit nervous. I feel like this saved me. I feel like I got a lot of growth, and I feel like the texture of my hair is just a lot stronger. I have a lot less like breakage here. It's really just been wonderful. So I feel like this is one of those products I can't really live without anymore. And I've been using this for almost 2 years, like well over a year and a half. I recommend this for sure. I'm just going through and making sure like things are in stock or whatever. There is so much Sisley stuff that I could recommend. Oh, let me just mention their new Lafito eyeshadows. I have the Glow Silver on all over, and they're just gorgeous. These shadows are just amazing. The Glow ones will blow your mind. They are just stunning. This one is Glow Pearl. They just glow. They just glow. I don't know what else to say, but I love the formula of these shadows. They have that kind of like baked texture to them. And if you caught my video, this is going to be redundant, but if you caught my video dedicated to these shadows, I did mention that I recommend using a natural hair or a stiffer brush for these, one that's really going to pick up the shadow, because they are baked. They're going to be a little bit harder to pick up. So if you do decide to pick these up, I definitely recommend one of those Sonia G, like the worker brushes. Perfect. Absolutely perfect. So those are the Lafito Ombre eyeshadows. And then they're newly reformulated and like re-released their Fito 10 Ultra Eclat. This is a great foundation. It has very, very like light natural coverage. I want to say it's like a light medium. I think it's buildable to just about a medium. Oh, I have it in the shade 2 Soft Beige, just FYI. It's a little bit more matte than what I prefer, but the longevity of this foundation is out of this world. It did not budge. It did not appear any different on my skin after like a 10-hour wear. So I will reach for this foundation if I know I'm going to have a long day, and I've had a lot of long days lately, and this has been a wonderful, wonderful foundation for me. My opinion of this has not changed at all. In fact, I think I love this like more and more. I just appreciate it the more I wear it. Absolutely lovely. The texture of it is a little bit on the thinner side, but it's not watery. It just applies very smoothly. I just love it. It's easy to use. It's stunning. It's stunning. So I highly recommend that foundation. Oh my God. I was only going to mention one more thing, and whatever. We have 3 more things for Sisley, and it's still just not even enough. But the Sisley Tinted Sunscreen Cream, I love this. I've talked about this a lot also. So this I feel like is a medium full coverage. It has a very creamy kind of texture. It has an SPF 30, and I have it in the shade 1 Natural. This is just glorious. It just looks so beautiful on the skin. And despite this having some coverage going on, it doesn't look or feel mask-like at all. It's not that dewy. It's really just, it's just wonderful. It's just wonderful. If you've never tried this, I would give it a shot. And then 2 lip things. So they're Lafito Rouge. I think I just mentioned this in my top 10 fall lip products, but this is the color number 33. If any color appeals to you, I would give it a shot. If you're looking for a very comfortable matte lipstick, look no further. I was skeptical. I never feel like matte lipsticks are that comfortable, but this is one of the very, very few that I find to be incredibly comfortable. It lasts a lot longer than like a regular cream lipstick. The colors I think are beautiful. I think the packaging is beautiful. This is magnetized. The number 33 Orange Sevilla is one of my absolute favorites. Again, mentioned in my top 10 fall lips. I just love the formula. It's perfect. And speaking of formula, they're lip liners. So Risa of Risa Does Makeup, she actually recommended these lip liners to me. We were talking about Sisley in general. She was like, oh, they're lip liners. And I was like, lip liner? Like, I really had never ever gotten that excited over lip liner. I think the last time maybe was over like Charlotte Tilbury's Iconic Nude because of that color. It was just like such the perfect like lip cheek kind of color. And I never really thought that much about lip liner formula. Sometimes it's the texture I don't like, but the formula of this is magical. There's something very, very special about this lip liner formula because it goes on smoothly, softly, and just glides right on, right? So far, nothing you haven't heard. And then it will set down like a little bit, but it doesn't get dry at all. But it behaves like one of those lip liners that sets down and then it's just kind of like, you know, as the day goes on, it gets drier and drier. And then at the end of the day, it's like it's hard to get off or whatever. This somehow remains creamy, but it doesn't budge and it really helps keep like lipstick in place. It was just very, very surprising to me because when I put it on and I felt how creamy it was, I was like, oh, here we go. Like it's gonna be a mess. And then when I didn't feel it like totally set down, I was like, oh, well, it's not gonna last. You know, I figured, oh, it's gonna be one of those lip liners that just kind of disappears. It lasts all day. It's like magic. So anyway, that is the Sisley lip liner. And I have like all of the nude colors. I have nude, beige natural, and chocolat, and I just really, really enjoy these. Oh, and sorry, one last thing for Sisley. How could I forget? And we'll just move on very quickly. The Stilo Lumiere, I have it in the shade 2. I have mentioned this in like 1,000 of my last month's favorites, and I continue to use it. And I think I joked about this in one of my recent videos where I feel like I just reached for this now. I'm like doing a project pan on just this guy because I love it so much. And I'm just surprised that I've used it this often and it's still going. So that's the Sisley Stilo Lumiere in shade number 2. Woo! This is going to be a long video. Okay, let's keep going. All right, next up, let's talk about Kjaer Weis. So Kjaer Weis is an organic beauty brand, and I had tried some of their makeup previously, and I enjoy it. I think it's very, very lovely, and I was actually surprised at how much I liked it, being that it's organic, because I haven't really had the best luck with organic beauty. I find either the texture is a little bit weird, it goes bad quickly, doesn't apply nicely, it doesn't last, you know, all those things, all or some of those things. But I didn't find that with her makeup. So the one thing I do want to mention is her cream blush. You guys recommended, you were just like, get her cream blush. Doesn't matter what color, just get her cream blush. And it is lovely. This is the color Desired Glow. And it's just a lovely texture. It stays put. It's not too emollient where I feel like it's just too much like cream on my face or my hair is going to get stuck in it or anything. It's a lovely texture and she has really, really lovely colors. And if you're not familiar with Kjaer Weis's packaging, all of her packaging is like refillable. So there's some aspect of it that's always refillable, and it's this big chrome piece that's refillable. This square pan pops right out. There's like a pinhole in the back. You can just pop it right out and refill it with a different color or the same color or whatever. It's extremely heavy, lovely quality. That is the cream blush. That is definitely one of her standout products. And then I wanted to try some of her skincare. So there's 2 things that I actually really enjoy. And this I actually put on Instagram because I was really pleasantly surprised how much I enjoyed it. And this is her cleanser. So this is what it looks like. It's really heavy. This is glass. And then we have a pump dispenser, and this cleanser is almost like a hybrid gel kind of formula. So when you pump it out, it definitely looks like jelly in the hands. And then as soon as you like kind of start to emulsify it with water, you'll start to see it kind of turn white, but it doesn't like foam up or anything. It just emulsifies. And so I like applying it, you know, to damp skin. And, you know, I just kind of like massaged it in. And when I first used it, I thought, okay, you know, this feels nice, like nothing out of this world. It smells very, very organic for sure. There's like chamomile, calendula oil, some other things in here. But anyway, it smells very organic. It's very nice. And it was when I rinsed it off that I was like, oh my God, my skin felt so soft. It didn't feel oily. It didn't feel like I had just moisturized it. My skin was just left feeling so soft. And I love that. I have very, very dry eczema prone skin. So if a cleanser kind of leaves my skin feeling stripped, I just don't use it. And so I end up using a lot of these kind of like cleansers that are moisturizing. And a lot of times they make my skin feel a little too moisturized. For a cleanser, I like my skin to kind of be left feeling clean. So this left my skin feeling really clean, but soft. All right, let's quickly talk about By Terry. This is going to be no surprise here because I've talked about this quite a bit, but the new By Terry Tinted Hyaluronic Hydra Powder. I think that's the full name. I've been using the #1 Rosy Light underneath my eyes, and I've been using the 200, the 200 Natural, kind of lightly dusted all over my face. Today I don't. I used a different powder that I'm going to be recommending also. But the Rosy Light under my eyes gives it such a nice, bright effect. And bright without looking too white. It's just a very kind of like light, natural, kind of like luminous effect under my eyes. And I love it. I just use my finger. I kind of just dip it in and I just pat it on. I basically press it into the Sisley Stilo Lumiere that I have under my eyes. And it's great. It sets that down. It stays like this beautiful, like hazy veil underneath my eyes. It covers up any fine lines. It doesn't sink into my fine lines at the end of the day. It just does such a good job kind of camouflaging all the craziness that's going on underneath my eyes. So that's the Rosy Light. And then the Natural, I just love lightly dusted all over my face. So the By Terry powders, really enjoy them a lot. And then the powder that I am wearing on my face today is the Koh Gen Do Natural Lighting Powder. I've talked about this a lot, so I'm not going to linger too long, but I love this powder for setting because it's not too matte. There's a little bit of like a natural skin-like appearance there. It's gorgeous. I like using base products that have a little bit of dewiness to them. This doesn't cancel it out completely. It's wonderful. I still really love this powder, even though the By Terry has come into my life. I still use this one quite a bit. I have it on my skin today. So that is the Natural Lighting Powder from Koh Gen Do. All right, next up, let's talk about Surratt, the Dewdrop Foundation. This is the newest foundation from Surratt. And this is right now my favorite foundation. I have it on my face today. I keep wanting to reach for it. When I don't wear it, it's because I'm either testing something out or I'm just trying to give it a break. Or like with the Sisley, I know I'm going to be out for like all day and I just need something that's just going to like stay on my face. And that's not to say that this is not long lasting. It's just not quite as long lasting as the Sisley. This has a dewier appearance to it as well, which is what I enjoy more on an everyday. And I absolutely love it. It comes in this kind of like dropper type applicator. Turn it over. It has a button. You squeeze it out and then you just apply it. It's amazing. I wear shades 4 and 3. 3 is a little bit lighter, so I use that kind of on the bottom half of my face, and I use 4 kind of all over. It has like a lighter, thinner texture, similar to the Sisley, not watery, but it kind of runs a little bit, and it just glides onto the skin like magic. It all but blends itself. The coverage is a little bit lighter than the Sisley as well. So it has like a light coverage. I think you can build it up to a light medium. It is absolutely stunning. It's very perfecting. It allows your natural skin to come through, but it still somehow is able to kind of like camouflage and even out, and oh, it just has the most beautiful sheen. I could go on and on. Okay, so the Dewdrop Foundation, highly recommend. And Surratt is another one. I'm flipping through this page, making sure I'm not talking about anything that's out of stock, but everything. I love everything. I just talked about the new hologram eyeshadows in yesterday's video. I love those. Those are perfect for the holidays. They're just such an easy way to get like a super fun like look on your eyes without that much work. There's zero fallout because there's like creaminess to both the dark matter base and all of the shadows. Like they're just stunning. I highly recommend those. They're just absolutely gorgeous. Now is a great time picking up some of these brushes of his. The face brush, like if the Chikuhodo Z1 is still out of stock, this is a wonderful, wonderful alternative. Squirrel hair, just like the Chikuhodo, same shape. It has like a round ferrule. Absolutely gorgeous. Love this brush. Also a huge fan of his sculpting brush. I love angled cheek brushes. I think they just, you know, they give you a deliberate application, but it's not too stark. It's still like a cheek brush, so it's still, you know, you can still buff with it or whatever, but because it's angled, I feel like the placement of it is just, it's a little bit more targeted. So that's the sculpting brush. All right, let's move on to Hourglass, and I'm just going to talk about their Ghost Holiday collection because I love it. So the blush quad, I have been using quite a bit. I just keep reaching for it. It's what I have on my cheeks today. I have a mixture of these two colors. I pretty much kind of like throw my brush into all of them a lot of the times. I do like a shimmer blush. If you're into a matte blush, this is definitely not for you. But I just really enjoy like a shimmery kind of blush. It's wonderful. So love the blush quad. I think it's beautiful, and I'm not one that really enjoys blush palettes. I find them overwhelming, or I always find like I use one shade and none of the others, but I like all 4 shades, and I think 4 is very, very manageable. I love the scattered eyeshadows. I love them so much I can't find the third one. So these come in a set of 3. I'm holding up Molten and Foil. And when I did a whole review on this collection, I did a look with the Molten, and it's just this really beautiful like cream glittery eyeshadow. So it's just wonderful for the holidays. It was just great. It was easy to use. There was like a teensy bit of fallout, you know, not too horrible. And then this foil color is gorgeous. It's like this gold color. And then the other one that I can't find is like more of a taupey color. That I've been probably using the most out of them because it's the most kind of everyday, and it's probably why I can't find it. I really love these as well. And then the face palette. So I like this face palette. I think it is one of the better ones. In fact, I think I like the Unlocked one the most still. And then this one comes in as a close second. If you want this one, if this one appeals to you, I think go for it. I think it's a lovely palette. I don't think you're going to be disappointed. But rumors are that last year's Unlocked palette is coming back. And if it's coming back, I would say wait for that. That one is just stunning. In fact, let me show it to you. So it is this guy. It's just perfection. I love every single powder in here. Every single powder in here is like exclusive to this palette. So there are no powders in there that already exist in their line, like their edit palettes always do. Like this whole top row, you know, already exists in the Hourglass line. So I love that about the Unlocked palette as well. I don't know if it's going to happen or if it's not going to happen, but that's what I heard, that this one is going to be coming out for the holidays. So fingers crossed that it is. I would definitely recommend this one over this one, but this one is beautiful. All right, let's talk about Charlotte Tilbury. So a lot of her holiday collection is on Beautylish, and I love this instant look in a palette. This one is my favorite. I love the eye colors. Yeah, I love all the colors in here. This bronzer is a little bit on the warmer side. When I did a review of this palette, many of you commented that it was too warm, so just be aware of that. So I don't know if that helps at all, but I can see how much cooler the Sculpt powder is. So that gives you an idea of how much warmer and kind of like orangey based this bronzer is. But aside from that, the eyeshadows are really beautiful. This highlighter is gorgeous. I have it on my face. It's so stunning. It's like beaming, but it's just satiny. It's not too metallic. I just think it's gorgeous. So I'm loving this face palette. And then the holiday version of the Film Star Bronze and Glow, I think makes an incredible present for anyone who's been wanting like the regular one, or if you're running low on this one, or if you want to back up. This is incredible. So this is what the compact actually looks like, and it's textured. It looks like a rock crystal. Oh my god, it's so amazing. And then inside it's just the same product. So you have the highlight and the Sculpt powder. And this holiday gift version also comes with a brush. So it's like a travel size brush. It's synthetic haired, but the handle is like matching in color. It's like a blue color, and then it has like stars right at the handle there. Did I even show you the cover of the Instant Look in a palette? I just think they're so beautiful. I love, love, love that. And I've also been playing around with the Luxury Palette of Pops, and I wasn't sure what to expect. Now, the name of it, Palette of Pops, makes me think that these are all going to be like her top coats. And they are basically. So these all have like a very glittery, kind of like shimmery tone to them. They're not like overly pigmented. So let me just go ahead and show you some swatches. So here are the 4 shades in there. They kind of operate, I think, like her top coats in all of her quads. They all have like a little bit of a sheerness to them. I feel like this is a great palette to kind of pair with a different palette. And if you want to just add a little top coat to something, or if you just want to use one of these shadows and kind of just like brush it all over your lid, you can. You know, you can work it any way you want. But I did just want to point out that I do think all of the shadows in here work great as like pops, as top coats, as its name would suggest. So Charlotte Tilbury, another one. I could just go on and on. I'm flipping through her page and I'm like, oh, that. But again, I don't want to go on for too long. I love her hot lips too. I think they're amazing, amazing. The one color that I've been wearing the most is JK Magic. But yeah, there really isn't that much from Charlotte Tilbury I don't like. So let's move on. All right, let's end with 2 of my favorite brands. The first one being Natasha Denona. You know, again, I feel like a broken record. Again, I feel like I could recommend so many things off of her page. I think so many of her things are beautiful. I especially love her eyeshadows. And I think during an event like this, you should take advantage and get one of her 28 pan eyeshadows. So we've got the green brown, which I love. Love. This is one of those products that if I were to ever lose this, I would replace it immediately, like no hesitation whatsoever. The other one is the blue purple or purple blue, and that is this guy. And I hesitated on getting this because I thought, oh, you know, I don't really wear those colors very often, but there's plenty of neutrals in there to keep me happy. Like this entire row, these 2, like these palettes are just so beautiful. And I think really well thought out, well laid out, just stunning. And her latest Metropolis palette, I think this is lovely. So this has 28 colors as well. They're smaller in size. So here is the other 28 just to compare. And these colors are just, they're so rich. They're so autumnal. They're so fall. And even though I don't think any of these colors necessarily are, you know, unique or the first of its kind or anything like that, I do find this palette as a whole to be very unique. I've never seen anything laid out quite like this or any sort of like color story quite like this. And it just makes sense. And it was definitely a color story that I wasn't sure that I would use very often. You know, even though I like browns, and there's obviously plenty of browns and golds in here, it was just so rich and bright that I thought, wow, you know, like these are some really bold looks you've got going on here. But I've been using this plenty and getting really kind of like nice basic kind of looks when I want to, or I can amp it up very easily with like these greens that I love. I love these 2 greens so much. So that's what I'm going to recommend from Natasha Denona. Again, there's so much that I could because I like so many of her things. I think all of her bigger eyeshadow palettes, if there's any of them that you like, just go for it. I just think they're wonderful. Okay, and last but not least, it has to be. I'm losing my voice. I've been recording for like an hour and a half. Last but not least, Tom Ford. So I have left this for the very end because I wanted to recommend all of the new Soleil Neige collection, but it is all sold out on Beautylish, and my heart was broken when I saw that. I was like, oh my God, I want everyone to get this collection because it's so beautiful. I think the very one thing that I see that's in stock out of the entire collection is the deepest shade in the glow stick. And this has like a deep kind of like highlight. That's what the highlight looks like. I think it's beautiful, and I would totally wear that like towards the back of my cheek. And then here is the blush. And yes, the blush is a little bit on the deeper side, and there's a little bit of like a plumminess to it. But I wore this on my lips when I did the first Soleil Neige quad. Yeah, I use this on my lips, and it's a wonderful color for your lips. So if you're thinking about one of these glow sticks and maybe you're a little bit like not so sure if this tone would work for your skin tone, think about possibly using this for your lips because it's great. It's like a little bit more pigmented than a balm. It'll just give you a really nice wash of color. So that glow stick I really like for that purpose. So you guys know I love the Fiber Brow Gel. I almost can't even talk about this with a straight face anymore because I talk about it so much. But I have always used the espresso shade. That was the darkest shade that they had for the longest time. And then just recently they came out with, I think, a couple new shades, and they came out with Granite, which is cooler and a little bit deeper than espresso. So I have granite in my eyebrows today and I love it. It's like perfect for the fall winter, perfect for cooler toned eye looks. But I love the fiber brow gel. It's just, to me, it is the best formula, hands down. It's not too wet, it's not too dry. It has a few fibers in there just to kind of like beef up your hairs if you need it, which I do because I have very long brow hairs, but they're very sparse. So I love the fiber brow gel. The Tom Ford Lash Raise Mascara. This is my second tube now. Thank you so much to Beautylish for sending this over to me. But I was using that first one to death and it got to the point where it was just too old. I've been using it for too long, but I love this mascara. This one has a lovely texture. It's not clumpy, but it's not too wet, and it does a really nice job kind of lengthening my non-existent lashes. It just makes me look like I have at least a couple of lashes there. So I love this mascara. And then let's end it with the Emotion Proof eyeliners. These eyeliners, I started with Gigolo, this one gold color, but now I have 4. Actually, let me swatch these for you because I wasn't sure the differences of the colors myself from online, so you guys may be interested. Gigolo, so that's the gold one. Byzantium is this like bronze one. Abyssinian is this chocolatey brown color, and then this is Dominator. So these Emotion Proof eyeliners are waterproof, they stay put, they apply to my waterline really easily. They're one of those like twist up, twist down ones. They have the little sharpener here at the end. It goes on really smoothly, and they stay put. I have it like tight lined, I have it waterlined, I have it like all over my like lash line, on my upper lid, and there's been like no smudging, no nothing. And I've literally been sitting here now for almost 2 hours talking, and I put my makeup on at least an hour before. Anyway, they last a long time. I really enjoy them. If you've been thinking about getting these, I would try one. All right, that's all I have for you. I think that is more than enough. You're probably completely overwhelmed at this point, but have fun with this beauty card event, and definitely let me know down below in the comment section what some of the things are that you're planning on purchasing. Maybe give me some recommendations yourself. I would love to hear from you guys. You guys always give me the best recommendations, so thank you. And give this video a thumbs up if you enjoyed it. Subscribe down below if you haven't already, and I'll see you in my next video.